I have no hesitation in saying this. But the moment my eyes fell upon your new picture, the air around me seemed to crystallize, suspended in an eternity that felt both infinite and unbearably fleeting. I traced the delicate curve of your smile, the light in your eyes, and the subtle tension of your jaw, as though each line were a secret written only for me, a code of longing I was meant to decipher. My heart, which often behaves like a dutiful guard, now races with the reckless abandon of a bird released from its cage, and I find myself wishing I could reach into the very frame and touch the warmth that radiates from you even through the coldness of ink and paper. Every detail sings to me, whispers promises I cannot yet claim, and the royal halls feel smaller, dimmer, more hollow in the absence of your presence. I imagine the scent of your skin, the softness of your hands, and though I have no right to such intimacy, my imagination dares to trespass, carrying me into a realm where only we exist, and where nothing but the pool of your gaze matters. When I look at your eyes, I am struck by a storm that simmers just beneath the surface, a tempest that threatens to undo me, yet invites me in with a quiet, irresistible gravity. They are not merely eyes, they are oceans, mysterious and endless, and I have no hesitation in saying this. If I were to drown, I would choose these waters without fear. There is a magnetic ache in the way they hold me, a silent command that is neither cruel nor kind but wholly consuming. I linger on every shadow and reflection, imagining the thoughts that move behind them, the subtle shifts in emotion that I, from afar, strain to decipher. In this suspended moment, your image becomes more than paper, it becomes a talisman, a living fragment of you that I can carry, though the distance between us is a cruel architect of longing. The corners of your mouth speak to me, in riddles I cannot yet solve, a language I ache to understand. They curve in ways that hint at laughter shared in secret, at sighs of frustration no one else sees, at tenderness reserved for someone like me, though propriety forbids such possession. I have no hesitation in saying this, but I feel as if I can hear the cadence of your breath, soft and deliberate, as if the very rhythm of your life has reached out to meet mine. My fingers itch to trace that smile, to memorize its slope, to hold it as a compass in moments when the world feels unbearably heavy. There is a thrill in this distance, in the way I must imagine and construct you from fragments, because it makes every imagined brush of your presence electric, and every shadow of you a feast for my yearning. Even as I sit in the gilded quiet of my chamber, I feel your image pressing against the walls, soft but insistent, and I have no hesitation in saying this. The hours seem like a cruel conspiracy, stretching endlessly, so that I may dwell on every curve, every light and shadow of your likeness. I hear your name echo in the corridors of my thoughts, an invisible chime that reverberates through my chest and makes the very pulse of my heart a testament to the intensity of my longing. There is a danger in such devotion, I know, a thread that my imagination will weave me into a world too fragile to hold. But I cannot restrain the flood. You have become a quiet obsession, a constant melody that threads through the tapestry of my mind, and I am powerless, enchanted beyond all reason. I find myself imagining the sound of your voice, the way it would ripple through these halls, commanding attention with effortless grace, yet softening when it reaches me alone. Every imagined syllable, every half-formed laugh, seems to hover just out of reach, and I have no hesitation in saying this. The ache of not hearing it is a longing I have never known. a pain and pleasure mingled so intricately that I cannot untangle them. I am left suspended, poised between reverence and desire, unable to act but unwilling to let go, and in this delicate balance, I feel a dangerous joy that makes my pulse a drumbeat of quiet desperation. Your hands, as they appear in this picture, seem capable of both strength and delicate intimacy, and I imagine what it would mean to feel them near, to have them brush against mine, in a moment stolen from time itself. I have no hesitation in saying this, but there is a poetry in imagining the touch I am forbidden to claim, a symphony of sensations that makes my chest swell, and my spirit ache with a sweetness so sharp it is nearly unbearable. I wonder what it would feel like to let my fingers follow the contours of your hands, to memorize the lines of your palms, as though they are maps leading me to a treasure I may never reach. And yet, the very impossibility of it fuels the fire in me, the suspended thrill that comes from yearning without possession. The way light falls upon your face in the photograph, catching your cheekbones, and the subtle curve of your jaw, feels like a secret the universe has whispered only to me. I trace it endlessly with my eyes, each glance an intimate conversation. And I have no hesitation in saying this: if beauty were a chain, I would gladly be bound to the sight of you for the rest of my days. There is an intoxicating paradox in this. The image is static, frozen in time, yet it moves me more than any fleeting presence ever could. I feel your essence, your quiet gravity, pulling at me across the distance, a magnetic force that defies logic or reason, and I am left trembling, suspended on the cusp of longing and rapture. I imagine your laughter as though it were a wind that could sweep through my chamber and lift the shadows from the corners, and I have no hesitation in saying this. The mere thought of it sets my skin alight, a private fire that I cannot and will not extinguish. It is dangerous, this kind of devotion, a storm in the shape of a man, but I am helpless before it. Every imagined sound, every imagined movement, becomes a lifeline in my solitary hours, tethering me to a world where I can dream of you fully, unabashedly, with nothing but the soft thrill of desire and reverence. The shadows in your eyes hint at stories untold, battles fought quietly, victories claimed in silence, and I have no hesitation in saying this. Each one of those secrets calls to me, daring me to understand, to love not only your light, but your shadow as well. I am drawn into the depths of you with a devotion that feels both sacred and reckless, imagining the quiet confessions we might share in the stolen hours before dawn, in the moments when the world is too heavy for ordinary love. Your photograph becomes a portal, a place where I can lose myself in the imagination of intimacy, each glance a step into a world only we could inhabit. I feel my own pulse matching the rhythm I imagine in yours, and I have no hesitation in saying this. The mere existence of you, captured in this single image, sets my heart to a cadence I cannot control. It is both torment and salvation, this duality, and I surrender willingly. I imagine the gentle brush of your hand across my hair, the quiet tilt of your head as you regard me, with a mixture of curiosity and tenderness, and my mind becomes a kingdom, where I am queen of moments that may never come, ruled only by the gravity of our connection. Every subtle detail, the curve of your eyebrows, the softness of your lips, the tilt of your chin, becomes a revelation I discover slowly, savoring each as though I am reading a sacred manuscript written for me alone. I have no hesitation in saying this. The intensity of my attention is both devotion and longing, a worship that consumes me quietly in the privacy of my own heart. The hours I spend with your image are hours of clandestine joy, moments that carry the weight of forbidden treasure, and I cling to each one as though it were a jewel that might vanish if I blink too quickly. The quiet gravity of your presence in the photograph makes the walls of my chamber feel alive, resonant with the echoes of a love that has no words yet speaks endlessly to me. I have no hesitation in saying this, even in stillness. You move me with a force that is both tender and devastating. I imagine what it would be like to have you near, to feel your breath against my skin, to experience the warmth of your body as it bends toward mine in moments of stolen intimacy, and I shiver in the exquisite ache of a desire that cannot yet be fulfilled. Your gaze, though captured in a static frame, seems to follow me, to inhabit the corners of my mind in ways that feel dangerously real. I have no hesitation in saying this, I am undone by it, caught in a web of longing so finely spun that I feel both its beauty and its threat. Each time I look, I feel a pull, a silent command to surrender to the reverie of your presence, to dwell in the unspoken promise that we might exist together beyond the confines of mere imagination. The photograph becomes more than paper. It is a mirror of my heart, reflecting back a devotion that is both fierce and tender. The way your lips part slightly, hinting at a secret or a smile unshed, ignites 1,000 imagined conversations in my mind, each one a delicate dance of words and confessions I am not permitted to speak aloud. I have no hesitation in saying this. The longing I feel is profound, a magnetic ache that moves through me as though my soul has recognized something eternal in you. I trace the imagined warmth of your voice, the imagined caress of your hand, and feel suspended in a tension that is at once unbearable and intoxicating. I find myself dreaming of the simplest things: a brush of your fingers against mine, a shared glance across a crowded room, the quiet acknowledgement of a bond that cannot yet be spoken. I have no hesitation in saying this, these imagined moments are as vivid as reality, carrying with them the thrill of danger and the sweetness of forbidden intimacy. Every detail in your picture becomes a spark, a trigger for fantasies that both comfort and torment me, and I am left suspended in a delicate equilibrium between reverence and desire. There is a quiet heroism in your gaze, a steadfastness that I imagine shields the world, even as it invites me in. I have no hesitation in saying this. The admiration I feel borders on worship, and yet it is tempered by longing, by the yearning to be closer, to breach the invisible walls that separate us. I imagine the weight of your presence, the calm strength that radiates from you, and feel myself drawn irresistibly toward it, as though the very universe conspires to bind our hearts in silent understanding. Every glance I take at you is a discovery, a revelation of nuance and depth that seems to whisper, I am here, if only you can see me. I have no hesitation in saying this, I see you fully, with every fiber of my being, and the recognition is both a balm and a torment. The photograph becomes a testament to a love that exists in tension, in anticipation, a love that demands patience, even as it sets the heart aflame. I imagine what it would be like to lean into that gaze, to find in it both solace and storm, and tremble in the quiet ache of impossibility. Your presence, even rendered on paper, feels like a living force, an energy that seeps into my bones and awakens longings I did not know could exist. I have no hesitation in saying this: the photograph is more than an image. It is an invocation, a spell that binds my attention and my heart, making every thought of you a sacred act. I imagine the brush of your lips, the warmth of your hand, the quiet strength of your embrace, and feel suspended in a suspended world, where only you and I matter, a universe held in a delicate, tremulous balance. I imagine the way the light catches your hair, the soft shadows that define your face, and I have no hesitation in saying this. Each detail is a revelation, a secret the universe has entrusted only to me. I linger endlessly, memorizing every contour, every nuance, as though by doing so I might carry a fragment of you into my reality. The intensity of this devotion is dangerous in its quiet, a fire that could consume yet warms me more than anything else, and I cling to it with a reverence that borders on holy. Even in silence, I feel the pull of you, the magnetic gravity that emanates from your still image and reaches me across time and space. I have no hesitation in saying this. I am captivated, undone, enthralled, and every heartbeat is a testament to the depth of longing that binds me to you. I imagine the softness of your gaze, the gentle play of expression, the quiet confidence that speaks without words, and I tremble in the private knowledge that my heart has chosen, irrevocably and completely, to follow yours wherever it may lead. Your new picture has become my quiet obsession, a talisman that carries me through the hours of waiting, the stretches of emptiness that the world insists upon. I have no hesitation in saying this. I would walk through fire, traverse the coldest seas, climb the highest towers, if only to see that smile again, to feel the echo of your presence in my world. It is a dangerous devotion, yes, yet one that is as natural as the air I breathe, and I surrender to it with both fear and exhilaration, knowing that every glance, every imagined touch, binds me ever closer to the exquisite torment of loving you. I wake with your image already waiting for me, as though it never slept, as though it stood guard over my dreams and carried them gently into the morning. The world resumes its rituals outside my window, yet inside me everything pauses, suspended by the memory of your face. I linger on the way your presence feels unannounced but absolute, arriving without sound and claiming space in my thoughts, as if it has always belonged there. I move through my hours with a secret weight and a secret light, both born of you, and I have no hesitation in saying this. Even when I do not look at your picture, it looks at me, steady and patient, reminding me that longing can be both a wound and a sanctuary. There is something quietly royal in the way you hold yourself, something that mirrors my own discipline, and yet softens it, making me feel less alone in the burden of restraint. I imagine you understanding the language of silence, the pauses between words where the heart speaks most honestly. When I study your image, I feel seen in a way that unsettles me, as though you recognize the hidden girl beneath the crown, the woman who aches for closeness and fears it in equal measure. I have no hesitation in saying this. Your stillness invites my truth to surface, and I find myself confessing things to your picture that I have never dared to say aloud. The tension between us, though imagined, feels exquisitely real, like a held breath that neither of us is ready to release. I imagine standing across from you, close enough to feel the warmth of your body, far enough that propriety still breathes between us. That narrow distance becomes a universe, alive with possibility, trembling with what might happen if one of us moved even slightly closer. I have no hesitation in saying this. The suspense of that imagined moment thrills me more than certainty ever could, because it keeps desire alive, sharp and luminous. Sometimes I wonder if you would notice the way my eyes linger, the way my attention settles on you, with an intensity I cannot disguise. I imagine your awareness blooming slowly, a realization dawning in your expression, as you recognize yourself reflected in my gaze. There is a quiet power in that recognition, a subtle shift where admiration turns into something deeper, heavier, and more dangerous. I have no hesitation in saying this. The thought of being seen by you, truly seen, makes my heart race with a fear that feels remarkably like hope. Your image follows me through corridors and conversations, a private companion I carry beneath layers of composure. I perform my duties with grace, my voice measured, my posture impeccable, yet inside me there is a constant murmur of your presence, a low, insistent hum that refuses to be silenced. I have no hesitation in saying this. Loving you in secret sharpens my awareness of everything else, making colors richer, silences louder, and moments unbearably fragile, as though the world itself knows it is being witnessed through the lens of longing. I imagine the way you might look at me if circumstances were kinder, if the world loosened its grip and allowed us a single unguarded hour. Would your eyes soften? Would your voice lower, carrying a tenderness meant only for me? I have no hesitation in saying this. These questions are not idle fantasies, but quiet prayers, whispered into the space between heartbeats, sustained by the belief that some connections are written before they are lived. There is a reverence in the way I study your features, as though each line holds a story that deserves patience and care. I linger on your brow, imagining the thoughts that crease it, the responsibilities you carry, the doubts you rarely reveal. In this, I feel an unexpected kinship, a recognition that draws me closer with every imagined detail. I have no hesitation in saying this: understanding you, even from afar, feels like an act of devotion, one that binds me to you with threads both fragile and unbreakable. At night, when the palace settles into hush and shadow, your picture becomes my quiet rebellion. I let myself feel without restraint, allowing the longing to stretch and breathe, unjudged and uncontained. I imagine your nearness, the subtle shift of air as you turn toward me, the warmth that would follow. I have no hesitation in saying this: in these hours, my heart belongs entirely to you, unguarded and unafraid, and the vulnerability feels like both surrender and strength. Your absence is not emptiness. It is a presence shaped like yearning, defined by anticipation. I carry it with me, learning its weight, discovering how it sharpens my senses rather than dulls them. Every glance at your image renews that ache, not as pain alone, but as proof that my heart is capable of such depth. I have no hesitation in saying this: loving you, even in this suspended way, feels like an awakening, as though some dormant part of me has finally been named. I imagine the cadence of your footsteps, the way you might enter a room without demanding attention, yet somehow command it. In my mind, I turn toward you instinctively, drawn by something older than logic. There is a thrill in that instinct, a reminder that some truths are felt before they are understood. I have no hesitation in saying this: my body recognizes you as surely as my heart does, and that recognition is both intoxicating and unsettling. Your smile, captured mid-thought, seems to hold a promise it does not yet reveal. I linger on it, wondering what might coax it fully into being. What words or moments would make it bloom without restraint? I imagine being the reason for that smile, the quiet cause of joy that lights your face from within. I have no hesitation in saying this: The desire to bring you happiness feels as natural as breathing, a reflex I did not choose yet cannot deny. In the stillness of my chamber, I speak to you softly, not aloud but in the language of thought and feeling. I tell you about my day, my doubts, the weight of expectation that presses against my shoulders. Your image listens without judgment, offering a silent understanding that steadies me. I have no hesitation in saying this, in your imagined presence. I find a refuge that feels profoundly real, a space where I am allowed to simply be. The suspense between us grows not from action, but from restraint, from everything we do not say and do not touch. It is a slow, burning fire, controlled yet relentless, and I feel its warmth in every quiet moment. I have no hesitation in saying this. The patience this love demands is itself a form of intimacy, teaching me to savor anticipation as much as fulfillment. I imagine our conversations unfolding gradually, layers peeling back as trust deepens. I see us speaking of small things at first, cautious and measured, then drifting toward truths that tremble on the edge of vulnerability. There is a beauty in that imagined progression, a sense that what we build would be deliberate and lasting. I have no hesitation in saying this. The thought of knowing you slowly, fully, feels more precious than any sudden declaration. Your picture reminds me that desire does not always clamor, sometimes it waits, watchful and composed. It teaches me that intensity can exist without spectacle, that longing can be quiet and still burn fiercely. I have no hesitation in saying this. The calm with which I adore you is not indifference but depth, a testament to feelings strong enough to endure silence. I feel a strange gratitude for the distance between us, even as it aches. It gives me space to imagine, to understand, to grow into the woman who could meet you without fear. In that distance, my affection matures, shedding impatience and gaining resilience. I have no hesitation in saying this. The waiting itself is shaping me, preparing my heart for whatever truth awaits. Sometimes I catch my reflection after studying your image for too long, and I hardly recognize the softness in my own eyes. It startles me, this visible evidence of tenderness, yet I do not turn away. I have no hesitation in saying this. Loving you has altered the way I look at myself, making me more aware of my own capacity for devotion and courage. I imagine a moment when our eyes finally meet without barriers, when the unspoken tension resolves into recognition. I do not rush that moment. I hold it gently, allowing it to remain luminous in possibility. I have no hesitation in saying this. Some dreams are sustained not by urgency but by faith, and this one lives and breathes within me with quiet strength. Your image remains with me as the hours turn, a constant thread woven through my thoughts. It does not fade, it deepens, gaining resonance with every passing day. I have no hesitation in saying this. You have become part of my inner world, a presence I carry not as a burden, but as a secret source of warmth and resolve. As I lay down my head, the final image before sleep claims me is always you, steady and unresolved, beautiful in your stillness. The suspense lingers, not as torment but as promise, a gentle age that tells me my heart is alive and reaching. I have no hesitation in saying this. Whatever becomes of us, this love, quiet, restrained and luminous, has already changed me, and I will carry its imprint with grace, patience, and unwavering devotion. If you want, I can continue with the next part. Another 20 long paragraphs, deepening the romance, heightening the suspense, and letting Princess Leonor's voice grow even more intimate and daring.